Hello, I am Dr. Haydee Brown
I'm Dr. Sonya Sloan.
And we are eh-yah, Black and Brown Women Disruptors in Healthcare and Beyond.
So this week, Luigi Mangione, 26-year-old, he was charged with murder of the UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York. He was apprehended in McDonald's in Pennsylvania, and after the employees had alerted the police, according to the New York Police Department chief and detective. During the arrest, Mangione, who was already facing gun charges, reportedly became very, very nervous and started kind of shaking, if you will. And when they questioned him about his recent travel to New York, he basically said, yes, and did not totally agree to it, but is going to downplay these charges. At the initial court appearance in Pennsylvania, he did enter a not guilty plea and is now being held without bond. But he also had some more to say. Let's go to the clip.
Of Luigi Mangione's arrival at a courthouse in Pennsylvania, that's where we're anticipating an extradition hearing for the 26-year-old Ivy League graduate and high school valedictorian accused in the murder of health insurance CEO Brian Thompson.
Yeah, let's see this moment. It is actually sort of something to watch. He was trying to send a message, but police rush him off very quickly.
And it's completely out of touch and it insults the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
An insult to the intelligence of American people. It's tragic and shocking, this whole situation with the murder, assassination of CEO Brian Thompson. This has sparked significant questions about the intersection of healthcare, power, and the role of money in our system today. So while the details are still coming forward and remain pretty much unclear, his arrest and subsequent investigations being to light the unspoken tension in the room is very complex for political influence, corporate greed, and a growing dissatisfaction among the American people. So Mangione is now acting out of desperation and frustration, maybe, driven by a system that doesn't take individuals into account. I mean, most of us feel powerless against the giants. It's an insult, he said, to the American intelligence of people ignoring the broader implications of his act. We are ready to connect the dots, maybe. The elephant in the room is healthcare in America. And it's not just a service to us, it's a battleground for the political powers to be. Financial interests are now colliding, and often we as patients and the people are at its dispense. So this is a very tragic case, but remember, David and Goliath wasn't a small thing. And the healthcare industry may be Goliath, but in the end, remember that David did win. So what are we feeling nowadays? We are going to explore more, I'm sure, to come in this very complex case, but consider the broader implications here. The video showed the tension that he had that was brewing. It's a collective frustration seen in healthcare, politics, money, and on social media. People are not going quietly, Dr. Brown. Let's roll this next clip.
For months, Luigi Mangione had stopped communicating with family and friends. His mother last month filed a missing persons report in San Francisco. A former roommate in Hawaii says Mangione struggled with a back injury.
He did let me know that the severity of his back issue was such that it was very difficult to have physical relationships with women, that it made things painful.
This x-ray of a spine posted to his social media account. In addition to back pain, Mangione also posting about brain fog and sciatica, at one point writing, "It's absolutely brutal to have such a life-halting issue." Investigators are also focusing on notes they say Mangione had when he was arrested, saying, "A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy." Another saying companies have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Mangione's attorney urging the public not to rush to judgment, saying his client will plead not guilty to all charges.
If you're an American, you believe in the American criminal justice system, you have to presume him to be innocent.
Friends from his elite high school in Baltimore, where he was valedictorian, expressing shock at the arrest.
I've still been in a little state of disbelief that this kid that I knew from high school for 8 years ago is now the most high-profile killer, allegedly, in the country.
Mangione's family has deep ties to the healthcare industry. His grandfather, a reported self-made millionaire whose portfolio included nursing homes. The family known to donate to local medical facilities.
So we're going to focus here on pretty much what happened. Like from a standpoint of as surgeons, we, don't condone violence, of course. But Dr. Brown, can you talk some more about his medical condition and maybe what possibly could have provoked him?
Yeah, so of course, we're both orthopedic surgeons. I'm a foot and ankle specialist, but I can definitely speak to the basic spine anatomy and the problems that Mangione possibly had. Of course, we don't know all the details of his past medical history or surgical history, and nor should anyone else due to HIPAA, right? Protecting patients' health information. So what we do know is that they released that photo, the photo of an x-ray, which is a lateral, meaning looking from the side of his lower spine. And you can see that there's some screws, there's hardware, there can be a fusion there. And it's believed that Mr. Mangione was suffering from this condition called spondylolisthesis. And, that can cause pain. Spondylolisthesis can cause a lot of pain. And then the surgery itself, although is a smaller of the spine surgeries, can have potential complications, and the recovery from that itself can be very challenging. So let's just think about this for a moment, that you have a young guy who has a former life where he is more active and valedictorian in the class, and now, at least per these reports, has been pretty crippled by pain. And if you look at his Reddit post, he's saying he had a brain fog and he was really suffering from chronic pain. We have to think about what it's like for a man that age not to be able to have intimate relations and to really have their life stopped or halted. And it's just important to note that at each step within his treatment, within diagnosis, and even seeing the right physician, this is all limited by healthcare insurance. Right? Insurance may deny access to a specific specialist. They may deny the right to get certain imaging, particularly advanced imaging. They may require a certain number of physical therapy visits before you can have surgery. And during that time, the patient can be in a ton of pain. And so, spondylolisthesis can be found in about 20% of the adult population. And of course, it can cause chronic pain, decreased mobility, and a lot of frustration. And although we in medicine have advanced to managing these conditions, no one is perfect. No procedure and no surgeon is perfect. And the problem that we face in medicine is that there's the art of medicine. So you have the procedure and the care you're administering to this patient, but that is really limited by what health insurance says you can do. Again, I've personally have had patients that are in need to get something like an MRI and have to have, X weeks of physical therapy that's documented before they can get the care or even the tools that we need to look at in order to get their care. And so the frustration that was voiced, in that one clip, it's really echoed by many people, even myself. When I'm a patient, I get frustrated by the healthcare system, and it can definitely lead these restraints can lead to a mistrust from patients towards healthcare, and then on our side as a physician, it leads to burnout. Imagine that you take all this training so that you can take care of people, and now you have to spend multiple hours a day on the phone with some physician somewhere to say that your patient needs a study that, of course, you think they need it, or else you wouldn't have requested it, right? And just noting that, delay and deny is a big part of how this healthcare system, holds on to their profits. And this has ripple effects. It's really far-reaching, and some of that we're seeing now. It's so important for us to focus on healthcare reform, to give patients better access to care, and to give healthcare providers, physicians, the ability to provide the best care, whether it's through certain imaging, certain diagnostic tests, or even the procedures that patients can need. And this is really, really echoed when you're thinking about underserved populations or people who are unable to really advocate for themselves. I mean, what do you think about all this, Dr. Sloan?
I think so. This is the whole thing of the backlash from the back pain, if you will. And I totally agree. And even to the point where, speaking out these implications of this assassination of the UnitedHealthcare CEO, number 10 in the country, They said it was taken out on social media. People basically spoke up, and even more so, the industry giants have now stepped into the ring. Here's a clip of Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary speaking out about it.
Have to do with United Health and frankly the whole industry is appeal to reality and say, look, it's on us now. We understand you're unhappy. I mean, this murder, this assassination is horrific. There's nothing good to be said about that, and there's lots of problems with it. But at the end of the day, what it's leading to is the frustration of the users of healthcare, and everybody's affected by healthcare. They should be coming out now saying, look, we get it. We have families too. We're people. We have children. We care about what you think about, and we're going to automate this process and make it better or do whatever they have to do. That when you appeal a case, it's not a delay situation. And if you have a valid claim, you get paid out. That's what insurance is supposed to do. But putting a fence around headquarters, hiring more security guards, that's all bad imagery, Wolf. It's all bad, and it's not the right answer.
As you probably know, a Kaiser Family Foundation survey found that about 1 in 5 insured adults dealt with healthcare claims being denied last year. People are sharing stories online of their claims being denied for surgeries, cancer treatments, and major health issues. What do you say to them?
Well, there's probably valid reasons to deny, but if it's set up so that you just can't appeal it in a way that is cost effective because you can't afford to hire a lawyer, particularly in an expensive surgery, it doesn't matter. At this point, social media is now the jury, and it doesn't like what it sees. So if you're an executive, in interim management at UnitedHealthcare or any other health company, you got to read the room, Wolf. You got to read the room and realize right now that the public is turning against you. They are your customers, and they don't like it.
Social media is the jury, and we have spoken. I mean, I have recently had a family member that was denied access by UnitedHealthcare for a major procedure that was needed. So I understand personally the frustration on the physician side as well as a patient or family member. But let's look at it from a business standpoint, from a financial standpoint. And according to the Data Bridge market research, the health insurance market is growing, and its compound annual growth rate is 4.4%. which means that it is expected to reach $2.3 trillion by 2027. That's huge, people. And that's why this is the David and Goliath. But another thing we cannot step away from is that Project 2025's agenda is to prioritize profit over patient, which is going to hurt the American consumer, not just now, but for decades to come. So these are the things you need to know when it comes to the American Progress's article that they wrote recently about Project 2025. What is the new administration looking to do? Ending Medicare and the drug prices for negotiation. We recently got a lot of drugs marked down so people could have affordable diabetic medications. Number 2, they're paving the road to privatize the Medicare fully by making Medicare Advantage the default enrollment. That is bad news for all of us. And then also removing the consumer protection from non-subsidized ACA market plans. So basically, you will not be protected on things that may be bad for you or products that may be on the market that aren't good for us because no one is gatekeeping, if you will. Also, promoting junk insurance plans that expose consumers to financial catastrophe. There's a lot already out there, but we're not going to be protected under the Trump administration. And then number 5 is enabling corporations to expose Americans to dangerous pollutants and hazardous materials more easily. So we will not have anyone policing these people that will basically be just throwing money upon money to make us really the vulnerable and exposed to whatever's out there by the higher powers and the people that have the big guns. So we're in danger by Project 2025 and this new administration once again, and healthcare is at the top of the list to make sure that they are in control. What else, Dr. Brown?
And the problem with the incoming administration and our healthcare system is that already we have profits over the patient. And what's been really promised by the incoming administration is that they're going to make that worse. And it's just really important to know some of the health industry statistics. That global healthcare market, as we mentioned, is going to reach $11.9 trillion. It's the largest employer in the United States. The average hospital stay in the U.S. is already $10,000. In 2019 alone, we're spending almost $4 trillion. And then it's expected to continue to grow. And the thing about it is, although we're spending more per capita, we're not doing as well. We're not doing as well. Our healthcare outcomes are not on par with our peers. We have shorter life expectancy, higher infant mortality rate, higher obesity rates, higher rates of preventable diseases. And so if the physician's not benefiting, the patient's not benefiting, who's benefiting the most? It's neither of us. It's the healthcare system. And we can go to that chart where you see that, the UnitedHealthcare Group, United Health Group, 201 billions, right? Mm-hmm. Billions, trillions. And so this is a very, very, very lucrative business. However, it's dealing with people's lives. And that is a major, major problem. So what do you say to all these healthcare giants? I say that patients need to be informed. They need to be proactive, know your coverage details really thoroughly, and do not hesitate to challenge your denials. They are counting on your acquiescing to the denial. A lot of them can be overturned upon review and appeal just by speaking to another human being rather than letting an algorithm decide that you can't get the study or procedure that you need. So it's really important to partner with your healthcare provider and, make sure you're keeping your detailed records and ask for as much documentation as possible so that you can make a strong case for what you need or what your family member needs to make them better. And be sure that you can use patient advocacy groups or legal aid resources. And you could even speak to your state's insurance commissioner to escalate these unresolved issues. And most importantly, you got to stay persistent because it's your health and it's worth the fight.
It's always worth the fight. Your health is always worth the fight, especially with the current trend and incoming parties to be. But more than anything else here at Mighty Mighty, we want you to subscribe, share, like, follow us, comment, and let us know how we're doing out there. Have a great day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.